Alright. So continuing directly on from the previous chapter, because again I have to summarize this for the audience for some reason.
And I will not be reading along this time. This is for a complete surprise.
Yes. So, chapter 13. Awesome versus the Emperor. This chapter isn't gonna have a lot of actions and epic fights like the sort I usually write. No. This chapter
What?
isn't gonna have a lot of action and epic fights like the sort I usually write. It's mostly gonna be boring political stuff and talking. But it's also going to have sex, plot twists, and violence with the talking, so it'll... But it's also going to have sex, plot twists, and violence with the talking, so it'll be like... So it'll be more like... But it's also going to have sex, plot twists, and violence with the talking, so it'll be more like Game of Thrones.
But this is the big showdown. How can you not... What?
Well, because what they do is obviously so much more epic than that. So
I guess the Emperor is too old to fight. Because he's old and fat, and no one like him, because he's old.
So,
yes.
The Emperor walked over to Awesome and Suzaku and Saber. Normally, you'd have to swim because the snow in Serbia was so deep, but Emperor didn't swim, so he just glared at the snow really angry until it melted and walked on the water that immediately froze onto ice. Everyone bowed, because that's what you do when you see an Emperor.
Yep, as we've previously established.
Saber, what are you doing here? Old and the Emperor as mad. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing here? Said Saber back, only with surprises, because the Emperor was here. The Emperor walked over and slapped Uber Death Reaper 9001 across the robot face. Watch your fucking language! He olded again. I was going for my daily walk through Siberia when I saw you stupid kids fighting each other. Why are you inviting Russia with me armies? Yeah, his characterization sure seems to have suddenly changed. I mean, for being fat and old and weak, he sure seems to be really badass here. But then again, he is Wakamoto.
What is going on? Did the Emperor of Britannia take a daily stroll through Siberia?
Apparently. So, because I am going to destroy Awesome once and for all. Saber said with evil laugh and got his robot face slapped again. Baka! Said the Emperor. You can't just invade a country like that. We need approval from the United Nations to wage... We need approval from the United Nations to wage a war.
Well... Oh, gee. You see, this is going to remind me... Now I'm just thinking of my time in high school in the Model United Nations. Well, I'll explain this later, unless it gets more relevant.
Oh crap, I forgot about that. Saber said... Oh crap, I forgot about that. Saber said that felt bad. Awesome made lol! Ha! That means you have to retreat and call off your armies! He said
no, because the UN doesn't actually have the power to really... I mean, they can send in peacekeeping forces, but it's not like you can be fined for... The problem is the UN is... continue.
He said and high-fived Suzaku with their nightmares. Only until we get the UN's approval, son. Then I will get all of Britain to invade your country. The Emperor said. He climbed on top of Uber Death Reaper 9001 and blasted off into the sky with Saber. They saw some people in villages and they flew and shot their heads to dead... What is this sentence even about? They saw some people in villages as they flew and shot their heads to dead with guns while yelling, "Get some..." What?
Get the what?
They saw some people in villages as they flew and shot their heads to dead with guns while yelling, "Get some!" Suzaku, we can't let the UN. We can't let the UN to approve the invasion of Asia. That was a very good sentence, I must say. Awesome said, since all the Asia armies were still dying from the war with the communists and needed time. Awesome said, since all the Asia armies were still dying from the war with the communists and needed time to come back to Liev. Well, why don't you just life Geass them then?
The UN can't do anything that infringes upon national sovereignty! The UN does things like human rights protections, or at least trying to put them in place, which they're then promptly usually just ignored, or trying to solve troubles with pollution in international waters, in which most of the time people will just argue a lot. And then on the third day of the Model United Nations Conference, Estonia sends people envelopes full of glitter, and then people open the envelopes, and the glitter spills out all over the desk, and then there's glitter all over everyone's nice outfits by the end of the day. There's glitter all over the desks, and the hotel that's hosting the convention gets mad at you because they have all this glitter in their carpet, and it's that kind of carpet that it takes forever to get fine particles out of. And glitter's that really slippery, it's that kind of really slippery, sticky glitter that nests in everything. And then Estonia actually wins an award at the end, and you win an award too because you were actually trying to pay attention to everything and write a paper about the crisis that the council had to bring up because everyone kept tabling all of the issues that everyone actually did research for, because apparently it was a 50-50 zero split about interest in the topics, and no one actually wants to talk about the topics that won't win them points, because that's what Model United Nations is like. So as the result, the council running the convention decides to cause an oil spill in Arctic waters because of a seafloor collapse north of Russia into an oil pocket. And you're like, whoa, we need to solve this. And everyone's like, let's set it on fire. And you're like, no, that'll go into the atmosphere, and then we'll all die. And they're like, well, we need to worry about bringing boats into protected waters because we're going to harm the wildlife. And on with that, there's water spilling into the oil. I mean, there's oil spilling into the water. I did not continue. I was very involved in Model United Nations in high school. And sometimes people were completely insane. Never mind the time when we were covering it. No, you just continue. I'll go into my next story later.
Then let's go to the World Court and stop them! Suzaku screamed passionately.
The World Court?
The World Court. Askier Prime and the Lancelot flew in the same one direction as the Emperor and Saber. Awesome.
One Direction. Oh.
Awesome. Saw the same village they we are shooting at when they flew by, and dropped a nuclear on it for good measures. What?
What? I thought that the fact that the Britannians attacked the village was a bad thing. Why are Awesome and his forces dropping a nuclear on it?
Oh, because now I won't have to give them welfare, said Awesome. Said Awesome, since he was smart and needed to keep as much money as he could to fund the... Said Awesome, since he was smart and needed to keep as much money as he could to fund the war.
What a good guy.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes. As I have been saying, and as this story has been saying, Awesome is a kind and noble person.
That is looking out for the welfare
and
of
humble.
Yes.
Awesome and Sakuzu flew to the United Nations World Court, which was in America, since America was the freest country in the world and safest from terrorists. Yeah, I'm sure America is the safest country in the world from terrorists. Totally.
Totally.
They parked their nightmares in New York and walked to the court building, which was bigger than the entire Japan place. Actually, what even is the Japan place anyway? Is that supposed to be like all of Japan? Are they saying that...
At this point, I'm starting to get the impression that it might be a Japanese restaurant. If the UN building is bigger than the entire Japan place, I think that the Japan place is just a really popular Japanese restaurant that doesn't want to pay taxes.
Well, that sure puts an entirely different spin on this entire story.
Yes, it does.
They went inside and there was a room filled with emperors and presidents and diplomats from every country in the world. Why was that comma there? Also, I find it kind of hilarious how the author is always spelling emperor correctly, except when referring to Charles the Britannia, who is the emperor.
That's because the emperor is kind of a specialized title. He's not just an emperor, he's the emperor.
Okay, then. So...
official term.
The ceiling was made of stained glass the ceiling was made of stained glass that depicted historical event of Abraham Lincoln in a steampunk nightmare slaying a communist dragon. When they sat down, everyone stood up. Before we begin, please rise for our national anthem, said some American, probably the president. Awesome and Suzaku stood up because they are respect, and the band played Aerosmith. At the other side of the room was President Obama, who was sitting on his throne. Obama was the 44th Burger King of America and also the Prince of all of Africa. Obama was the 44th Burger King of America and also the Prince of all Africa, which made him the most powerful Why do I keep getting this one wrong? Obama was the 44th Burger King of America and also the Prince of all Africa, which made him the most powerful person in the United Nations.
Well, I suppose that Code Geass does take place. It is stated that Code Geass takes place in an alternate reality. Well, not an alternate, but an alternate universe.
Yeah.
But this is a bit alternate. This is very alternate.
If we want to stop Britain from invading Japan, we have to convince Obama, Awesome said wisely. The Emperor and Zaber walked over. The Emperor stopped in the middle of the room, but Zaber kept going. Zaber walked over to Obama's throne and took a seat next to him. What? What is this sorcery? Shocked Awesome. Suzaku gasped. 3 goddesses! I knew I recognized Zaber from before.
Wait, did he just say 3 goddesses?
Yes. And, of course, here's probably the most ridiculous plot twist ever. He is the Vice President of America!
What happened to Biden?
Alternate reality, remember?
Well, yes,
but
yes.
Seriously.
Also,
Zaber is the Vice President of America.
I'm just surprised that Suzaku is apparently a Hylian.
That's too. Awesome.
Although, wait, no, his spinning attack! It can't be! He's a reincarnation of the hero!
Awesome punch table fist! XO! He swore. He realized that his...
What did he just swear?
XO. So he spoke Japanese, basically.
Oh, okay.
He realized that if Zaber was Obama's right-hand man, they were never going to convince him to deny the Emperor. My fellow emperors, the Emperor said old. I want the invasion of Asia by Britannia to be legalized. Awesome is a fake emperor who took power by murdering the previous rulers. He also broke the Geneva Convention and shot at a bunch of prisoners and surrenderers.
Thank you! Yes, he did!
Yes, but this next line though. What? That is a lie! Truth, Awesome.
This is where I start to question the reliability of the narrator, which you should always do when you're reading, when you're analyzing literature. But, I mean, okay, so the Geneva Conventions actually exist in this universe. That's... Okay, continue.
Awesome's truthiness was too much for the UN courts to handle, and they laughed at him. But there is no truth to what he was saying. That was a blatant lie. He did all that stuff.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
a lot of times incredibly sadistically.
Oh, and this next line. Why don't you mention the truth, father? That the rulers of China and Russia were communists. Confirmed. Charles Z. Britannia is indeed Awesome's dad. Again, Zaber killed both of his parents.
Well, it's true, but he could have life Geassed his father back to live.
Well, then why does the fact that Zaber killed both his parents even bother him? And why would Zaber even kill both his parents when he is working for the Emperor? Who is his dad?
No, he's working for the Emperor now, but maybe he wasn't before. And then, Awesome life Geassed his father back to life, and then his father was like, oh, this guy's strong, he was able to kill me, I should hire him. And then Awesome's just like, what? But I cared about you. Fine, I'm estranged from you now. But the fact that Zaber even did that, I mean, even if your parents, even if everyone you knew was killed by someone and you could bring them back to life, you'd still be mad at the person for killing them in the first place.
Yeah, I suppose.
If the person didn't know you could bring them back. It's, as the saying goes, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, so... All of the United Nations gasped. The French representatives gasped so hard that they had no air to gasp left. The French representatives gasped so hard that they had no air to gasp with left and choked and dead.
Oh my gosh.
Is this true? Communism is a great crime in the eyes of America and the world, said Obama.
In the eyes of America? Yes. But you can't use that as leverage in the United Nations. As someone that represented Vietnam before, I know.
The Emperor could not lie during the UN, because if you did, you could get executed. Yes! Yes, it is true!
No, you can't!
He admitted awfully.
The UN is also political. Lying happens. You can't be executed by the United Nations. They don't have the authority to do that.
Oh, this chapter is so accurate to how the world works.
Although, admittedly, though the United Nations doesn't have the power to do that, there is a phenomenon called the third day of the Model United Nations Convention, in which all the judging is done, and so people just start proposing completely random things. For example, the first Model United Nations Convention that I ever went to, I was representing Vietnam, and the topic was, removing landmines from nations that had landmines in them for the protection of their citizens, and trying to, develop technologies or improve education about this hazard, da-da-da-da-da. And, Singapore just kept trying to table the topic, and also insulting the intelligence of all the other delegations.
Insulting the intelligence of your opponent. A very, 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 very stupid idea, but still somehow it keeps happening in every debate ever.
They won an award. They won an award. So, of course, by the third day, everyone was motioning to bomb the heck out of Singapore in the convention. And, by the end, pretty much every nation at our convention had declared total war on Singapore. So that was interesting.
Anyway, Obama sat and stroked his masculine chin in thought.
His masculine chin.
Zaber leaned over and whispered very evilly into his ear. Everyone was sweating in anticipation when Obama finally spoke. When Obama finally spoke. You both present excellent arguments. There is only one way we can settle this. Obama got up and shot his finger into the air with heroic pose. A duel! All of the United Nations cheered and banged their desks with their hands.
It's
Awesome and
time!
Huh?
I said, it's time! To duel!
Duel! Awesome and the Emperor glared at each other from across the room intensely. Obama continued. Since we are men of intellect and not violence, this will be a duel of the minds. A chess duel! Obama.
Oh, great. Another chess game. Because we found out before that Awesome really, really knows how to play chess.
Yes, he is a master at this game. Obama clicked a big red button on his desk and the floor of the center of the UN building. Obama clicked a big red button on his desk and the floor of the center of the UN building opened up to reveal a giant chessboard. All politicians who support Awesome join the black side. All politicians who support the Emperor join the white side. I will be the...
Wait, is this... Can't they just put it to a vote, then?
I will be the judge. Let's begin let the process of democracy begin. Obama shouted.
But you can just put it to a vote, and that would be democracy. Never mind
Look,
the
don't
fact that
question this, okay? This is just too hilarious to question.
I'm going to question it as someone that spent countless nights straining over learning about government and how the United Nations works, and being the nerd about this that I am. I am just going to spaz about this.
Really? You are a nerd about this? I did not notice at all. Not / sarcasm.
Even if they say that even if they say that Britannia can't invade Asia, Britannia can still go and do it, and there's nothing that the UN can do about it. Because basically all they can do is sanction. They can sanction the heck out of Britannia, but that's it. They can sanction them. They can send in peacekeeping forces, which will require more voting, and they'll have to go through budget plans. They'll have to pass various resolutions. So really, Britannia can do whatever the heck they want if they act fast enough.
All of the UN delegates got out of their seats and joined the board. Awesome and the Emperor stood across each other, and Awesome got made when he saw he had less human pieces than the Emperor. Stupid democracy, Awesome said. I'm gonna beat you, Dad, and freedom Asia for everyone!
Wait, stupid democracy? I thought you're the freedom guy.
I'm sure you will, son. Olded the Emperor, but he didn't mean it. He was being sarcastic.
Just like you were a couple minutes ago, Senpai.
It was Awesome's move first. He made the President of Australia move first, who went up 3 spaces and grabbed the Prime Minister of Canada. Who went up 3 spaces and grabbed the Prime Minister of Canada. He grabbed the Prime Minister and grabbed his spine and ripped it out like in Mortal Kombat.
I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm really not sure
I'm sure
how
the writer of Doctor Who would appreciate it. Because the Prime Minister of Canada, that's Stephen Harper, right?
I'm not sure if it still currently is or not.
Anyway, we'll say that it is, just so that the author of Doctor Who will be happy. Although, why would I want that idiot to be happy anyway? I mean, she sucks. / rude, but completely justified. A wise move, I will give you that. The Emperor olds. The Emperor had a bunch of German delegates move up. They pulled out Lugers and shot the President of Australia, whose head exploded. Then they shot the rest of Awesome's politicians until they ran out of ammo. Damn it, I should have done that, said Awesome, since he lost half his pieces.
I thought they said there was going to be no violence.
Awesome moved Dick Cheney out like he was a knight piece, then aimed sniped the Italian representative with crossbow. Since it was a headshot, he got another bonus move. As always, this is totally accurate to how chess is played.
Yes.
Awesome
Wizard's chess.
Awesome mad the king of Quebec attacked one of the... Why do I have trouble saying this line?
Also, please note, there's a king of Quebec.
Yes, there's King of Quebec. Also, mad the King of Quebec. Also, mad the King of... Seriously, why do I have trouble saying this?
Because the power of the Rospa Fabio is getting to you.
Awesome mad the King of Quebec attacked one of the German delegates, who he grabbed and wrestled until he broke the German's neck with a scepter. The duel raged on for many hours because Awesome and the Emperor were both such amazing and sexy chess players.
I thought that no one liked the Emperor.
Because he was fat and old.
And now he's incredibly sexy.
Apparently. There were blood all...
I think that's maybe, possibly trying to curry favor with you, Senpai.
Maybe. There were blood all over the chessboard, and the white tiles were red because of all the dead bodies. Half of the politicians in the world were dead already. The Shah of Arabia grabbed the grenade and charged into Awesome's side, which killed most of his Pisces. Oh wait, why did I say Pisces? That's spelled correctly. The Shah of Arabia grabbed the grenade and charged into Awesome's side, which killed most of his pieces. But then Awesome drew a Geass card from the deck, let him use his life Geass on the Delpo.
Wait, when were there cards?
But then Awesome drew a Geass card from the deck that let him use his life Geass on the dead politicians. I am impressed, son. The Emperor spoke very old and tired because the game was taking so long. He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from Child placed in... Oh, is that Chile?
Chile, it's Chile.
He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate... He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from... Yeah, I think the Raspe Fabio is indeed getting to me. I'm starting to have trouble saying all this stuff. Or maybe my throat is just getting sore. That's probably a more plausible theory. He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from Chile... He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from Chile Arg! He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from Chile placed in the other delegate's drinks was successful, and he killed a bunch more of Awesome's guys. Should I just put that in the final recording?
No, you've got to read it properly.
He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from... He rolled a 20, so the poison the delegate from Chile placed in the other delegate's drinks was successful, and they killed a bunch more of Awesome's guys. So, he's poisoned their drinks and was literally rolling a dice to see if the poison would work. Because the laws of physics can be swayed by dice rolls.
Well, not to mention, they're playing chess.
That too. This is even less like chess than the other chess game.
Tell me about it.
I wish I could say the same for you. Awesome smarted. He drew another card and laughed. What's so funny? Shoot at the Emperor. Awesome turned the card, smiling. Community chest, he said. The president of Switzerland, who owned all the banks in the world, could now remove all the money from the accounts of the... Could now remove all the money from the accounts of the Emperor's delegate.
But you can't! You are militantly neutral, Switzerland! Militantly neutral! You wouldn't just...
Artistic license politics. This should really be added to TV tropes after this, if it isn't there already. So, yeah. The politicians all checked their cell phones to check on the stocks and saw that they had no money and killed themselves. The Emperor had not pieces left alive. No, this cannot be, he said and cried, old man tears. And
What
this
just-
next line.
What just happened?
Democracy has spoken! Awesome has won and Asia will not be invaded! Obama cheered because he wanted Awesome to win. Awesome and Susaku jumped into the air and smiled and went, yeah! And the screen froze while happy music played. You know, for this, I almost feel like I should just do a drawing of them jumping into the air and smiling and going, yeah.
You know what I'm thinking for the background music for the happy music?
Hmm?
The end of battle music from one of the Pokemon games. You know, the do 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 do.
Well,
I would go even with the original blue version, really, for that. Just the 8-bit, just little happy peppy do 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 do.
that sounds like a brilliant idea. So, we'll get you next time, said the Emperor, who walked away with Saber. Obama pulled Saber back, though, because he needed to do vice presidential duties, like cleaning up all the murdered people.
That's a vice presidential duty. Where is that stated in American law that is is that an implicit vice presidential duty, or is that one that is actually stated? Because if that's actually in our American law code, wow, that would.
So, what are we gonna do now, Awesome? Asked Susaku. Now, we're gonna take back the Japan. We're gonna take back Japan, place. Awesome. Dun dun dun. To be continued.
To be continued. So they just got the UN to disapprove the invasion of Asia, which could they gotta stop analyzing this. Hey, one of those sound waves looks like a turtle.
So just decided to stop thinking then.
I don't know that I died for a few seconds back there.
So, shall we call it for now then, perhaps?
I died and then I came back because I realized I have finals soon and I can't be dead because I have to take finals.
Because that will be very important, even if you are dead.
Yes, so incredibly important. I don't think my creative writing teacher would let me out of my project even if I was dead. She would, hold a seance and channel my spirit there just to flunk me. I mean, she's not that bad. She just really, really likes us to get our work done.
Anyway, so that was a chapter. Or two.
Yes, that was a chapter.